just at 2. It's Dr. Fenn and Dr. Lord on the Greg Tish Show.
Swanson's Half Hour, Infinity of Tallahassee, out on Mahan Drive between Costco and Academy. If you're looking for a new Q or QX, Infinity of Tallahassee has lots of options for you. You can go visit them in person, like I said, off of Mahan Drive, or jump on infinityoftallahassie.com. Find the Q or QX that you want to test drive, schedule that test drive. Phil and the gang will have it ready for you. We have the doctors feel good in studio with us officially now, Dr. Lord and Dr. Finn. Officially good morning. We already got our pop culture update from Dr. Lord.
Yes.
And Dr. Finn with his wonderful beard that we got to play a little FLA or nay. When's the calendar come out?
The Finn calendar?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, we usually like to get those out before Christmas because the sales of me with my shirt off and the bearded version for July this year in Crystal River is going to sell that thing. I know it.
We've got to get you the Santa hat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Well,
I wear it other places.
Well, we've got a little crowded studio today. Why don't you introduce who you brought in with us?
You got it. This is, the cause here. Okay, Bobby Nahum is here, and then Mark Anthony Weeks. And they are the activists in local Tallahassee activists now because they shut our tracks down.
Okay, what do you mean by they shut our tracks down?
Always, from the time I was a very small child, you could always go to a local high school and run on the track.
Okay.
My dad took me there. My introduction to fitness. My dad was running 5Ks, and I'm a little kid. Obviously, you're not going to – the only way to train and take care of your kid at the same time, take him to the track. And you would go there to Godby High School, and my dad would train for the 5K, and I would run laps too, and my dad would do me. And I eventually did 5Ks with him once I got old enough. But that's my first memory of fitness. And if I didn't have that implanted in me, I probably wouldn't do fitness. And they've shut them down. You cannot go, silently, covertly. They shut down our tracks.
So is it all the high schools or just Godby, Leon? I know that Matt used Leon a lot as he was a kid.
That's right. That's it. And even like, we used to do church programs. We'd do a 6-week couch to 5K for churches, and we'd go to the local tracks and do that. It was just always open to the community. And I remember going and doing one at Leon, and everybody signed up for the 5K. It was a Gulf Winds Track Club was there, and that was the start and the finish of the race. And there were other people there using the track and different fitness groups out on the fields, using the fields, and just able to use our land when it's not being used. It was just a part of our community that you could go there. And it's like that everywhere in the country. This isn't just Leon County. And how many people got their start in fitness at a track, and now they're not going to have that. And it's safe. Even with what just happened with Greg Marr Jr., a track would be a safer place to walk. Can we not agree that like this saves lives to have people where they can have access? And they covertly shut it down. So Bobby's been speaking at the school board. He's got a petition out. We're trying to get this fixed for the community because it's not right.
When did this change start?
I'll hand this over to Bobby Mark because they've got
Bobby Mark, good morning. Thanks for coming in. Hope you got some coffee in there. When did all this start?
So it started when the Leon County schools decided to replace the grass football fields with the new AstroTurf football fields, and I think that decision was probably made sometime around 2018. And then
I remember when they did Gene Cox. I think that was the first one that they did.
Yes, yeah, that was actually the first one. And then the first high school that was done was Childs, and that was in 2019. And then the rest of the fields got completed between 2019 and 2023, with Godby being the most recent one. And anyway, so I didn't know about it until I used to run at Leon all the time. I grew up running at Leon, and I was out there. It was actually when they shut down for COVID. I was out there because the gyms were all shut down, and I was out there running, and I noticed, hey, they're putting fencing around the track. And I called Leon County about it, and that's when they told me about the AstroTurf fields. And what we were told was that the reason that they were locking everybody out was because they need to keep people off the new fields to basically prevent from excessive wear and tear. So that's kind of how it started.
But with the prescription athletic turf that they use, that's not the same like was in the Astrodome years ago. It seems like it would be more durable than natural grass, especially after, Leon, with the flooding that you get around that area. Yeah. that people walking in on the
It's
on the
supposed to
natural
be as
turf.
cost saving. They really lied to people, and you guys did some research with the Freedom of Information Act. They lied to us about the cost. It's not more cost effective, and they shut us. And they shut everybody out of the track. So they literally locked the gate on you, Bobby. But Mark, you've got some stats on that.
Yeah, I mean, they went in and they spent all this money and they sold it, as as more durable. But as they found out, as a lot of communities find out, it's not. It's very high maintenance. They have to keep people off of it. When I was at the school board meeting, I thought one of the school board's trying to debate about it, and this rogue athletic directing agency in there. They shut it out passive aggressively, and they didn't even notify the school board that they were doing this. So we had to go in there and tell them that. And, there's just a lot of ins and outs to the turf. And they, basically went in there, and it's so high maintenance that when the school board was, talking to the athletic director, I thought one of them was going to cry if they let it open to the public again, because they dally over their turf so much, and they know any little thing will cost thousands of dollars.
So this is the turf that we're going to be playing lacrosse, soccer, football, all sorts of other sports during school year, but you can't go walk now around the track.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and I've actually got some statistics or some financials that I obtained from the public records about these fields. Originally we were told by athletic directors that the fields originally would cost under $1 million, like $850,000 was one statement that was made. Another statement, we were told they were going to be $900,000. Well, the fields ended up actually costing just under $1.8 million each. And that's
wow.
Yeah, and that's from information that we obtained from public records from Leon County. So we were also told...
Sounds like a $500 government hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were also told that the fields would break even. They'd recoup the cost in 10 to 13 years originally. One statement that was more recently made was they said they'd recoup the cost in 6 to 7 years. But the annual savings on these fields is only between $30,000 to $35,000 per year from going from grass to AstroTurf. So the total cost of all the fields was almost $9 million. So per field the savings was about 106, or per field it was about $30,000 to $35,000. So total savings annually about $160,000 a year. So when you plug in those numbers, you'll see that the break even is really close to 60 years, and the fields at best last about 20 years. So
it's supposed to save us money every year, but it actually costs triple.
So, Dr. Lord, let me ask you this. Should we Yucca the fields?
Honestly, at this point, probably. There is
and
a
Yucca
lot.
is an app that you're going to be told to get it very, very soon. Get it.
Yes,
And that we scan it with what we're ingesting into our body, and we find out that the majority of things are awful because Dr. Lord has let us know that everything we're putting in our body is awful.
Right. So what he's referring to is how toxic the AstroTurf is. Now, there's nothing better than good old grass and just like being able to like be grounded, putting your feet on grass and just being one with nature, if you will. In comparison to turf, it's okay. So I looked on, there was an article that says there's concrete underneath it, and then they have the barrier, and then they have the AstroTurf. And so what that essentially is going to do is cause more injuries, and it's more toxic to the environment. So again, going back to good old grass, like that will create, there's an industry in its own for people who maintain fields, who take good care of grass. People love, taking care of their own plants, let alone grass. And I know it's hard in Florida, but when it comes down to it, it's way more important to have something less toxic for the athletes. The athletes are going to get more injured. They're 3 times as likely to injure their knee. So all in all, it doesn't make any sense for them to do this financially, for their health, for the longevity of not only their health, but also short term too, because these athletes go through a lot of traumas as well.
Yeah.
We will continue our conversation on the other side of this break.
We'll be back with more from Dr. Fenn and Dr. Lord on The Greg Tish Show.
El Nino heat is brutal. When it's hot, glass is soft and more prone to cracks. No need to call your insurance. Go to SeminoleAutoglass.com. Upload your policy card and request an appointment.
Hey, Sarah, what note does a bee make when it hits your windshield?
A